So, you're a creation of Moschino. No wonder he hasn't made you into a real boy. The man's a jackass.
Anyone remember Robotboy? Everyone remembers fucking Robotboy. How the fuck you doing? It's your boy D-Dubbin of ReviewYaLife, and today I'm introducing you guys to the cartoon that continued the White Hips Mom TV trope, Robotboy.
Hey, Mrs. Turnbull, did you do something with your hair? Cause you're a smoking hottie, I tell ya. If you weren't my best friend's mom,
But before we get started with this, we have to go through this, and then we'll get to this action right here. Yeah, boy. Yeah. Let's go. The development history for Robotboy is quite interesting and linear, considering that it was developed in France. The show was created and designed by Jan van Rietveld. I really hope I didn't butcher that name, who's also created shows X Duck X and Potatoes and Dragons. I know these shows are pretty obscure for my American audience, but I'm sure my foreign audience would get a kick out of this. The idea for Robotboy came from one of his children, who was often bullied in school, who wishes that he had a robot as a bodyguard. So now I guess you're wondering, how did this creator, only known in France, make such a cartoon such as Robotboy to be viewed for a worldwide audience? Well, that's because Charlie Bean was involved, and if you don't know who he is, let me give you some of his portfolio. Basically, Jan came up with the idea while Charlie created his world. So both of them teamed up together, along with two other directors who I'm sure have done notable work in their time at Alphanim Studio, now known as LuxAnimation, and Robotboy was born. I wish I could give you more on the development history, but there kinda is none. I'm assuming that France 3 just trusted Jan's idea in the show and greenlit it based on concept, and Cartoon Network Europe took over from there. There is no pilot known or shown anywhere that I know of, so I think this show just sorta happened. After season 1 was settled and done in France in September 3rd, 2005, it went on to be translated in English by British voice actors with American accents, and come to Cartoon Network UK in November 1st. The US Cartoon Network quickly having interest previewed the show in December 28th for their Saturday morning lineup, seeing if there would be general audience for our Robo Savior, which went on to air alongside other action cartoons in January 14, 2006. So now that we're caught up with the bells and whistles, I can now start my review based off of production, main plot, and nostalgia. So without further ado, let's get right into the production. Production for Robotboy is pretty unknown, but that hasn't stopped me before. Just by watching all 4 seasons of the show, I made a couple of keynotes. 1. There must be a fight each episode. 2. You will hear the same 4 songs throughout the whole series. And 3. It's a flash animated show, commonly reusing assets to create episodes faster. Hence on why it has 104 episodes, but only 4 seasons. They did the old 2 15-minute episode show schedule, which is not a very common necessity in today's animation lineup. So here's the number one question you're probably thinking. Were these episodes just shitted out for the viewing world, or was there effort put into them? Well, imagine Samurai Jack and Johnny Test had a baby. Probably not the best example, but just bear with me. I really enjoy the idea that Robotboy has to super activate each episode and shoot lasers out of his shits and punch power, etc. But other than that, the build up to it is just a wacky kid show. The designs for each character has a shape to them, most likely going off the Genndy Tartakovsky works, while taking inspiration from other shows as well. But mainly France has a common tendency of creating new foundations in their animation, and Robotboy is nothing short of that. Tell me, have you seen a cartoon similar in design as this one? That's not a good example. My point is, the way they went about producing the show was a new medium to me as a kid, mainly because of all the mixing of sound effects and music in the show. But going back to the fact on if all 100 plus of these episodes were easily made, well, there's certainly no make a cartoon button in any Adobe Flash program. But going off the same assets from episode to episode could be probably draining on a viewer. The design of the cartoon is not too simplistic, not too advanced, which makes it really sound like they had a budget to keep. Mucha Lucha, for example, did the same thing, but I commended them on it due to all the unique mask designs that they kept up with. Teen Titans Go also gets away with this due to how creative they could be with backgrounds and designs, making the common viewer pay attention to all the complemental colors, so you can see more than just the Titan's Tower all the time. Robotboy's San Francisco design mainly consists of yellows and oranges, so the characters can stand out, along with other backgrounds having one color as well. I generally get an early morning cartoon vibe watching this show, which is probably why Cartoon Network set up their schedule the way they did. Heading to the conclusion on production, the show's main purpose was to focus on the characters, action, and slapstick comedy, rather than just having a visually orgasmic product like we see today. The animation had its quirks from here to there, but primarily, it's just an action cartoon through and through, from France. And with that, production gets a 7 out of 10.
Robotboy! Surrender, or I can't say it on television, but I'll do something pretty evil to the boy. Pretty evil.
Robotboy and his main plot go hand in hand. The intro really says it all. I will play it, but Cartoon Network will bust through the door and fuck my ass. So let me slim it down for you. This kid, Tommy Turnbull, is a really big fan of this professor who's currently working on a new project. Observing the kid's passion to see his creation, he says it to him directly, for it's dangerous for him to keep it. So now Tommy and his friends are teaching Mashimo's new invention, the human way of life, until Mashimo's place is safe. Which means the show is basically a Pinocchio trope, so each episode will most likely have him learning something or involve him with new experiences. While all of this is happening, everyone in the evil world is aware that Tommy has the robot, besides his family somehow, and each person has a motive. The main villain, Dr. Kamikaze, I'm not sure how they got away with that exactly, wants to capture Robotboy and claim him as his own to rule the world with his evil. With his henchman Constantine by his side, but he's not the only evil guy though. Everyone wants this robot. Bullies, the CIA, journalists, little girls, little boys. Basically, Tommy and Robotboy can't rest until they fight someone each day. But the main antagonist of the show is so cruel that the main character has a blind eye to them to this day. Gus.
Or if you prefer, the G-Man.
This is an annoying side character named Gus who I really just hate. Probably because he has a bling bling boy vibe to him. And he goes through the annoying, fat, farting, fat guy cliche in all cartoons. He keeps fucking with Robotboy for his own gain, and which I understand from a comedic relief perspective, but he's just a terrible character in general, with nothing to back him up. Or as the show clearly acknowledged,
Remind me again why I'm friends with you.
Well, because without my scintillating personality, your life would be dull as dishwater. With no conflict, there'd be no subplot. With no subplot, there's no character development.
And there's the somewhat love interest Lola. She's rich, she's black, she's aggressive. What more could you ask for? There's a lot of build-up sexual tension between these two though. You know what? That was inappropriate, I'm sorry guys. But then again, it is the French.
The filthy French?
I wouldn't be surprised if that was their intention in the first place. But no, she likes him and he likes someone else, and Gus is the only one aware of it. There's also this asshole side character named Kurt, which is obviously a nod to Kurt Cobain with his grunge look and bucket hat. Aside from those characters, Tommy really goes through a lot, taking care of Robotboy, dealing with his dick of an older brother, his dad who only wants to make a man out of him because he plays with dolls, and last but not least, his mom, probably being the only one who cares for him. Now, plot points for each episode of Robotboy are actually really elaborate for the show. At the start of the series, Dr. Kamikaze comes up with these actually good plans to lure Robotboy to him, which is saying a lot due to how laughable of a character he is. And Tommy usually falls for all of his traps. And honestly, I probably would too if I was in his position. But most of these episodes usually goes like this. Robotboy and friends are having fun. Kamikaze sets a trap. Gus does something stupid. Robotboy gets captured. Robotboy fights them off. Tommy loses his watch. Either that or Robotboy's batteries. Everyone loses hope. Extra batteries. Superactivate saves the day. Robotboy learns a lesson. Rinse and repeat. This makes the common format for the series. Another hint on why it got 104 episodes and 4 seasons. It's just easy to write. All in all, this show is about both of these boys learning stuff through this journey of robo responsibility. Tommy can defend himself at times, and he's also much of a technician just as Mishimo is, while Robotboy is simply learning right from wrong with superpowers as an added bonus. So it's a straightforward show altogether, where you kinda know how the episode ends before you finish watching it. So, with that, main plot gives a 7 out of 10. Now on to nostalgia. I don't recommend going back to see all 4 seasons of Robotboy. Just let the memories of you watching it back then float in your head. It'll make for a better experience. It's not a bad show at all, it's just not worth going out of your way to watch it. Maybe just look at the intro and you'll get the basic idea. But me personally, back then, I was so surprised how much Robotboy got away with innuendo-wise, making me even question if I was old enough to watch it. Mrs. Turnbull was the main eye-catcher for everyone it seems, including myself. Every time she was on screen when I rewatched the series, you can actually tell what the production crew was doing with her. And our Dirty Fork community caught on to that as well. The series as a whole has no standout episodes, so I can tell you that it ended anticlimactically. And season 3 is fucking terrible because they forgotten your purpose. It's just a bunch of smashed together episodes with little to no fighting, and a villain without common thinking. At least Dr. Kamikaze's plans were elaborate enough to work. This guy wants Robotboy's arms and legs just to be strong. Besides Robotboy getting upgrades from time to time, there's no continuous episodes. So really, this series just kinda sorta happened, and we enjoyed it from the time being. So with that, Nostalgic gets an 8 out of 10, which concludes my review of Robotboy. Jan Van Richardsburg went on to create Dude, That's My Ghost and Gawain after Robotboy, so his creative juices have not ended just yet. And who knows? Reboots are being flung around back and forth these days, so we might end up with a Teenage Robotboy short or some shit in the future. He'll probably even team up with other robot series to create the next Robo Revolution. But I'm just making shit up at this point. I'm D-Dub and I Review Your Life. See ya!
Lock it, fill it, curl it, find it, view it, code it, jump and lock it, surf it, scroll it, pose it, click it, cross it, crack it, twitch, update it, name it, read it, tune it, print it, scan it, send it, fax, rename it, touch it, bring it, pay it, watch it, turn it, leave it, start, format it. Technologic.